Coming up on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show,
we're going to talk about mulch, the good and the bad.
We're going to discuss what genetically modified organisms are, or GMOs.
And we're also going to have an interview with Wisconsin Foodie host Kyle Cherek.
And your questions via phone call, tweet, and email. Tell your garden friends that Garden Radio is on the air, because it all starts right now.
You're tuned in to the only vegetable gardening radio show in Milwaukee with your host Joey Baird, who grew up in the country but now lives closer to the city, and Holly Baird, who has always been a city girl. Combined, they have over 25 years of gardening experience who believe in simple gardening practices. A gardener for all gardeners, founders of the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, where they created over 800 how-to garden videos to teach others how to grow more of what they eat. Join them for the next hour as they discuss vegetable gardening and more.
This is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, whether on 860 AM WNOV or W293CX 106.5 through the social media apps, Simple Radio, the TuneIn app, the Simple Radio app, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com radio tab, or anywhere in between. We are live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Next to me is my wife, best friend, co-host, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com is your destination for all things gardening. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, 845 videos, email, and a whole lot more. This show is for you, all about you, to help you grow more food. And in order for us to do that, the sponsors you hear throughout the show make this possible.
Nasala Kombucha is the executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Nasala is made in Wisconsin with local tea and natural herbs. Look for it in the refrigerator aisle at your local grocer. If you don't see it, ask for it, because if it's not Nasala Kombucha, it's not kombucha. For more information, visit nasala.com.
You can contact us in a number of ways. You don't have to wait to the end of the show to call in with your questions. You can contact us via Twitter using hashtag TWVG on your tweet. You can email us today during the show or anytime at twvgradio@gmail.com. You can also call in on the ivorganics.com 3-in-1 Plant Guard hotline.
IV Organic naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields pruned and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com.
That number is 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. And Holly, you've got a little shout-out.
Oh, yeah. So my friend Laura, the one who does our little in-between, what do you call it?
The voiceovers.
The voiceovers.
The audio work.
It's her birthday today.
Oh, okay.
So happy birthday, Laura.
So we do a number of talks throughout the community, throughout the area. We had a very nice turnout this past Wednesday in New Berlin for growing potatoes in containers and in the ground. We will be in Monday at 7 p.m. We'll be in West Bend at the West Bend Public Library on growing potatoes in the ground in containers, and then we'll conclude our third series in the three-part series in New Berlin, April 26th at 6 p.m. on maximizing your garden space no matter the size.
And we have a lot of talks coming up in May. So if you have some time in May.
I think like 14 or 15 talks in May.
Check it out. Go to our website at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and check out the Come See Us tab.
Yeah. And if you have a garden, if you have a group, business, club, organization, whatever the case may be, you would like us to come talk, you can contact us through that tab, the speaking request tab on the website, or send us an email at twvgradio@gmail.com. Well, we've got a lot to get to today. We're going to talk, to begin with, about mulch and the importance of mulch, the good mulch and the bad mulch, and what we would recommend, what we have used, and what we have found to work the best. Now, first of all, let's define, and I like to define these terms so we all have an understanding. So, what is mulch?
So mulch is any type of material that is spread over the surface of a soil as a covering. It is used to retain moisture in the soil, suppress weeds, keep the soil cool, and make the garden bed look more attractive. Organic mulches also help improve soil's fertility as they decompose.
Now, mulch, again, as the definition states, it can be any material. So synthetic, organic, good, and bad. So we use mulch in our garden. We use a variety of different mulches. The majority of mulch is leaves from the fall. We'll clean the leaves out of the street, the ones that fall on the property, the neighbors on both sides of the garden. You'll see that the primary garden that we video on our website is Holly's mother's backyard garden, about 1,800 square feet. We use leaves on both sides of the street. We go across the street. We clean up about half a block both ways, and we bring in about 40 to 50 40-gallon trash can fulls of leaves and mound on the garden because it's an incredible mulch. It breaks down, has such nutritional value, the leaves do. So that's one mulch that you can use. And right now that mulch, if you didn't save any from last year, is most likely gone. So that may not be an option for you. There are other options that are available right now that will work very, very well.
So one thing you could do is take some dried grass clippings. You just want to make sure those are chemical free.
And weed seed free, which if you're mowing your grass regularly, you're not going to have seed pods on those grass stalks or stems.
You could use straw,
which is an easy material to get to. Straw is the byproduct of the grain. So if the farmer adjusted the combine correctly, which he should have because he's trying to get the grain to sell, it's just going to be mainly stalks. And you can find straw bales at Blue Mel's for a very reasonable price. Another one is pine needles.
Now, pine needles, some people think that they may add too much acid to your soil.
Acidity.
Yep, too much acidity. And that's not true. The pine needles, that's not true for the pine needles.
Pine needles are acidic on the tree, but by the time they break down, it takes so long for them to break down, they'll neutralize, and they work very well as a mulch. They'll last a very, very long time, several years. Another one is a compost, just regular compost. Now, I agree with this one, and I disagree with this one, because if you're adding compost regularly to your garden bed, let's say an inch a year, to a 4x4 raised bed or a traditional in-ground garden, you're still going to have that surface area which allows moisture to evaporate. I would recommend adding that compost, then putting something on top of that compost in order to hold that moisture in. The moisture held in, as well as slowing down the weed germination. The reason why weeds germinate, or unwanted seeds germinate, is moisture and warmth and sunlight. You have those three in combination, these weeds are going to germinate. If you can suppress the weeds by covering them with something, they're a lot less likely chance that they're going to sprout or have the strength in order to push through that mulch layer that you have on your garden.
Right. And then there's also shredded paper or cardboard. This is controversial because the ink could have soy in it and maybe possibly some of the tape or something or the glue from the cardboard.
It's not the most appealing. We've done it. It's worked well, but it does, you have to, wet it down. It does fly around. So that's something, you can keep in mind. It does work. We're going to do something called core gardening with shredded paper, and we'll explain more of that when that time comes in the garden. Another one.
But the thing about the paper is that you could do a thick layer of the shredded paper and cardboard and then cover it with something else if you don't like the way it looks.
Well, which we've done that.
Like a thin layer on top of it.
We've done that in the fall. We'll take shredded paper, and instead of taking it to the recycling, we'll shred it up, put it on the ground, and then cover it with about a foot of leaves. And then by spring, it's all disappeared anyway. Another way you can mulch is by taking about 4 to 6 layers of wet newspaper, laying it down, and then putting a additional mulch on top of it, dry grass clippings, shredded leaves, a straw, and that adds as an additional barrier. And then whenever you plant, you just cut your hole or tear the paper around and then go that way.
So one thing, there's a few you want to avoid, especially in a vegetable garden.
In a vegetable garden.
This is something that you could do in a flower garden or a shrub bed or whatever.
Perennial bed.
Right. So one thing you want to avoid is bark or wood chips. And the reason for that being is as they break down over time, they may hold in the moisture very well, but they're going to deplete nutrients from the soil. And so
now bark is or shredded wood is used in the back to Eden method of gardening, where you put a significant layer of wood chips on top of an area that you're going to plant 3 to 5 years from now, and over those 3 to 5 years it breaks down and feeds the soil, and then there is that nutrients or that nitrogen level balances out and everything works in core.
Well, that's different.
Right, that's different. But
most of the time when people are trying to mulch, they're trying to look for an immediate solution.
Right. And you don't want to use bark because on trees have bark. And what is the main purpose of bark on a tree?
It's basically the skin of the tree.
And to repel water.
Right.
So you're putting something on the ground to repel water, to prevent moisture. It's kind of the backwards thinking here. But anyway, continue.
Okay, so then there's cocoa shell mulch, and that's...
Dogs are attracted to that.
Dogs are attracted
and
to
it gets moldy, and that's the reason why I put that on the do not use list on anything, because it has a chocolate smell to it.
Rocks in vegetable gardens.
Do not mix.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You know we didn't you didn't mention in the good mulch was sand, and that's a little bit, you have to be kind of careful with that too. It could be okay in a container.
In a container. We've done that with a container with zucchini in a container, and it works very well because when you go to the beach, you go to Lake Michigan, what happens when you pull back that first couple inches of sand? It's moist. Works very well. But again, you don't want to mix too much sand in your soil because then it gets very loose and drainage problems and the whole deal.
Right. And so then it says weed fabric.
Which that's a big, you don't want to get into too big of a fist fight with a gardener who wants to use landscape fabric or the plastic alternative. Many commercial organic farmers will use that in order to suppress the weeds on large agricultural organic farms. It can go either way. Some of this plastic now will break down in 3 to 5 years, and it's organic or more organic than previous plastics, but I just avoid that altogether. There's so many more natural ways in order to use mulch to feed your soil than putting plastic on top of it. That's just.
But if it works for you, it works for you.
Right.
And then shredded rubber.
Rubber tires. We've all seen this on playgrounds. It just doesn't look good. It's not good. There's better ways to go with mulching in your vegetable garden than using rubber tires. Even though there's no scientific proof that the rubber chemical leaches into the soil. Again, remember, in a vegetable garden, you're going to be planting this year after year, and whatever you add to it, if it's a natural material like shredded leaves or grass clippings or straw, that can be mixed into the soil. It will break down, feed the soil. Rocks, dry shredded rubber, that type of thing, it doesn't break down in the soil. It's going to stay there for eons. So we want to keep that in mind when it comes to mulch. And any type of mulch. We highly recommend mulch. We didn't mulch for about 2 years, 3 years maybe. Then we came up and we learned as we went. It wasn't like, okay, we're going to start gardening. We know everything. So we started mulching with leaves, and we have found that to be the most incredible mulch of any type. I mean, mulch of any type is important because it's going to slow down how much water you have to use. So if you're using municipal water, you're saving money there. It's going to save on weeds, saves on weeding, so you're going to be happier as a gardener there. And it can look better, too.
Right, and leaves are... When they come off the tree, trees get nutrients from way deep down in the soil, and they put that into the leaves. So they're just adding really good nutrients to your garden. Right,
and wood chips we want to avoid. If you're going to use wood chips in like a perennial, like maybe an asparagus bed, okay, that's fine. You can work with that. You want to avoid that in vegetable beds for another reason is because wood chips can, based on the tree that it come from, if the tree died of a disease, wood chips can, after 1 year or multiple years after being shredded, can still harbor that disease. And some of those diseases are deadly to broadleaf plants like tomatoes, eggplants, and peppers. So keep that in mind. When we come back, we're going to discuss what GMOs are. Some of you have heard this term, don't really know what it is. We'll give you all the details and let you make the decision on what you feel is right and wrong right after this.
Tweet Joey and Holly using hashtag TWVG.
Garden seeds do not have to cost a fortune. Just 99 cents at migardener.com. With over 300 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, and organic flower, vegetable, and herb seeds available year-round, pay less and get more seeds. Shipping as low as $2.50. That just makes sense. Go to migardener.com for seeds and gardening needs, tools, and special blend fertilizer. migardener.com. It's that simple. Family owned and operated. Mantis Plant Protection professional grade organic pest control solutions. They offer Mantis EC concentrated or ready to use sprays. Certified organic and environmentally friendly insect killer. Gentle on pollinators and other organisms, but effective in killing soft-bodied insects and spider mites fast. Safe around your children and pets. They also have the cleanest and whitest diatomaceous earth on the market. Visit mantispp.com to receive a free organic pesticide cheat sheet, which is a list of organic insecticides that are used effectively and kills insects fast. Visit mantispp.com to download it today. Do you have a problem with deer or small herbivores eating your vegetation? There is a natural solution that is safe for your pets and family. Bobex is the answer. An environmentally friendly solution to protect your plants, will not wash off, and is guaranteed. Bobex Deer was independently tested against 9 known competitors and rated 93% effective, second only to a physical barrier. Bobex can be used on all types of ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Ask for it by name at your local independent garden center. Find out more, visit bobex.com. BOBBEX.com.
I have a growing family and I try to make healthy meals. And one thing I really love about Woodman's is that they have a huge selection of fresh fruits and vegetables. And the quality is really good too. They even carry locally grown produce. And they keep the prices low, so I can stay within my budget and put a healthy meal on the table. I'm Cameron, and this is my Woodman's.
Hi, I'm John Lewandowski, Retail Manager of Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center. Now, I'm not going to tell you about our awesome dome-grown plants, our beautiful pottery, or our 40 varieties of landscape materials. What I am going to tell you is that Blue Mel's is a local, independent, family-owned garden center that truly cares about your garden or landscape project. So if you're looking for that one garden center that actually cares about you, come to Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center. We've been treating our customers like family since 1955.
Blue Mel's 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Hallie Baird.
It is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, your destination for all things gardening. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. For 840 videos and more coming. I think we're up to doing about 9 videos a week now. What a beautiful day to get in the garden, and a beautiful day to start thinking about fresh produce getting drove right to your neighborhood in just a matter of weeks right here in the Milwaukee area from TreeRipe.com.
If you like fresh produce delivered right to your neighborhood, you should check out Tree Ripe Citrus Company. You can find out where to pick up top quality produce from TreeRipe.com. Sorry, Tree-Ripe.com. They have beautiful, tasty peaches and juicy, sweet blueberries. If you're sick of bland, mealy peaches and lackluster blueberries from your local grocer, Tree Ripe has exactly what you need. They come right to a stop in your neighborhood, fresh off the truck, right from the source. For location and schedules, visit tree-ripe.com. They have locations all over, including Iowa, Upper and Lower Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, and right here in Wisconsin. Tree-ripe.com is your go-to for the freshest produce around.
And to find that link for tree-ripe.com and all the links for all of our wonderful sponsors that allow you to hear this program each and every Saturday morning, you can find that under the radio tab on our website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, as well as downloadable replay podcast of previous shows and in-studio video. So we want to talk about what GMOs are, Holly.
Okay, so GMOs are genetically modified organisms, and they are...
Before we get to that, we've got a question on the ivorganics.com hotline.
Okay.
We're more than welcome to take that. Caller, you're on the air. Do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question about the mulch.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when people use table scraps, a lot of the foods nowadays are not all natural. If you have something that was from a can, maybe it has citric acid or different types of chemicals that are added. Do you know if those have any type of negative effect on the mulch? Do they break down over time? And the other question has to do with the watering of the garden from the pipes that may have lead in the city.
Okay.
Do you know whether that should be a concern? Do we need to get filters in terms of filtering the water? Is there some type of a filter if lead is a problem?
Two very good questions. The first question is, if you just apply it randomly, soil has what is called a buffering capacity, so it's not going to instantly cause problems. But you want to use it you want to apply it moderately. The lead pipes, that's a good point you bring up, because if you've listened to Sherwin-Williams on the forum, there's a lot of talk about the lead pipes and how the city and all this stuff. Lead is a very toxic chemical or metal to be put in your soil. So if you have or know you have lead in the pipes, yes, a water filter is something that you would want to attach before you apply it to your garden, as well as before you drink it. Obviously, there are multiple different filters available on the market. There is one on our website. It's one of the top ones in the nation. It's called Body, Mind, and Soil. It's on the main page. You scroll down, and you'll see
and it's something that goes on the end of your hose.
Right.
It's not something you have to. It's simple to attach.
Right.
Great. Okay. And then the little, the little stickers now that they put on all the plants. The plastic, do you know if that's the biodegradable plastic, or is that also, I know plastic is also a toxin. Is that something to be concerned about?
Unless it says it's biodegradable, it's not. It's not going to be biodegradable.
Okay, so just take those stickers off before you use
the little plant tags.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I'm trying to use foods to start my own compost mulching type of thing. Thank you very much, and I'll continue to listen.
Oh, thank you for the call.
Thank you for listening, too.
Yes. So if you have a question, feel free to call in at the ivorganics.com hotline. If we have to change the format of the show to accommodate your questions throughout the show, we will certainly do that. That's what we are here for. Holly, what are GMOs?
So genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, is simply an organism whose genes have been altered by genetic engineering.
Okay, listen to this, folks. This is important to what she's going to say here.
So this is the result of a laboratory process where genes from the DNA of one species are extracted and artificially forced into the genes of an unrelated plant or animal. The foreign genes may come from bacteria, viruses, insects, animals, or even humans.
So essentially here, and this has been done, in Big Ag, I grew up on a farm, so I understand what GMOs are. And the whole process, the farmers kind of got their hands tied with the big chemical companies, DuPont, Monsanto, DeKalb, Pioneer. What they're doing is, and this is an example, they're taking a DNA sample from a salmon that swims in an Alaskan river, implanting it into the corn kernel, creating a strain of corn that is more cold tolerant to grow in more northern climates. Then, in order to grow that successfully, that gene is also altered in which they can spray chemicals like Roundup, which has, glyphosine, which now in California, they have made the company, am I wrong in this? They have to label it as a possible cancer-causing chemical on the bottle. They spray this on the field to kill everything except for the actual crop that they're growing. So when you hear Roundup Ready corn, Roundup Ready soybeans, Roundup Ready cotton, Roundup Ready canola, all of this stuff, they can be sprayed. This is the weed killer.
Okay, so let's talk about why this is controversial.
Okay. Yeah, explain that.
Okay, so they did this, and they didn't have any proof of any long-term effects on humans, and then also the biodiversity of the ecosystem that they're putting this on these crops, the soil that exists underneath these crops. And so there's speculations that, and very high speculations that, things like obesity, cancers, just general chronic illnesses are becoming more prevalent
in the last 25 years.
Yeah, in the last 25
when
years,
this has really started to ramp up.
As
in the
a
early
result
90s,
of the genetically modified foods. And there's also a lot of things in the United States about them being labeled and banned. They're restricted or banned in 64 countries already, not including the United States. And also bees are dying off because of the GM crops. And without bees, we don't have food. And it's a result of the neonicotinoid pesticides, which are just the pesticides that are killing the bees.
So the reason why you can't, if you're concerned of, am I going to plant GMO crops in my garden? Am I going to get the seeds? No. The reason being is the big chemical companies, and I named them earlier, in order for a farmer to grow a genetically modified crop, they go to a dealer or a seed broker or a buyer they say, okay, I need X amount of seed for X amount of acres. So they reach out to these companies and say, okay, this farmer wants to buy this. So at the time of purchase, the farmer has to sign contracts stating that this is the intention for the crop. They're not going to save the seed. If they save the seed, the seed company in which they purchased it from can sue them, take them to court, basically take everything they own, because those seeds are copyright and patented. And you can find numerous stories online of farmers who have lost their land because of cross-pollination, because they didn't really do it. They didn't do it on purpose because of the cross-pollination.
So let's talk about
common
GMO foods and crops
that you're going to find in your grocery store.
And that includes soy.
That are not organic. If it's labeled organic, it's not.
Soy is like the highest one.
That's soybeans or soybean oil. Yeah.
And then corn. Corn is obviously the second highest one.
Both are about 95 to 98% grown in the United States.
And you might think, okay, I don't eat corn. Well, you don't eat.
Do you drink soda?
You're not thinking of the corn that you eat off the cob. It's corn that's grown to sweeten things.
Do you eat candy?
It's added to things to bulk it up, basically. If you can find corn in a lot of stuff.
Soda, and what does it have? That glucose, what is it? Fructose.
Well, high fructose corn syrup.
Go. That is corn.
So, because corn is sweet, and so it's then used and processed and overprocessed to
maple syrup
to sweeten things.
Or
pancake syrup.
Pancake syrup. That is not maple syrup. The fake stuff. Canola oil, big organic or big GMO crop,
and that's derived from the rapeseed oil, which is one of the most chemically altered oils in the U.S. Cotton is huge. That's not something that you can necessarily avoid. You're not consuming it. It is something to think about. And then milk. A lot of cows are given the growth hormones, and they have been shown to act inside the human body. A lot of controversy about that. And
farmers do that to get the cows to grow quicker, to produce more milk, to produce more calves, to produce more meat, to produce more money when they sell them at market.
And that's why a lot of young women are developing at an earlier age than before.
Yes.
Sugar. And that has been proven.
Sugar beets.
Sugar is a huge
if
one.
It's derived from sugar beets. Sugar cane is what we use. You can't tell the difference. It's an organic sugar, very, very good for you, versus the GMO of sugar.
And then let's talk about papaya. A lot of people don't know that, but papaya, and then even pineapple too, is definitely genetically modified grown food.
And just recently you'll find some zucchini, potatoes, yellow squash, rice that are all genetically modified in grocery stores as well. If it's not labeled organic, you want to be aware of that. But you will not be able to buy, plant, or grow genetically modified crops in your garden because you're not signing a contract with the big
and I think
industry.
We definitely encourage you to do the research. We're just kind of bringing this to light. Are we perfect? Do
No.
Joy and I consume genetically modified foods? Oh, we certainly do. They're everywhere. We try to limit it, but a lot of things are getting labeled now saying they're non-GMO. So it's definitely something you can think about and look at.
Well, something we need to think about and look at is making sure we have the right equipment to mow our grass, which is probably going to happen in about 2 weeks because the weather's starting to turn. It's a beautiful day outside, and it looks like the long-range forecast is doing that. So we might as well have the best equipment available in order to do the job right.
Do you hear that? That's your neighbor shaking in their grass-stained shoes because Aaron's is about to help you step up your grass-cutting game. Your name is on the mailbox, so the Aaron's name should be on your mower. Heavy-duty steel construction, smarter, smoother controls, professional cutting performance. The only thing we love more than the smell of freshly cut grass is a sweet taste of victory. Aaron's, it comes down to this. Visit Aaron's.com to find your local dealer for lawn and snow removal equipment.
When we come back, host of our own Wisconsin Foodies,
Kyle Cherek,
will be with us right after this.
Have a gardening question? Email Joey and Holly at twvgradio@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah. What you say? You say Nasala Kombucha. It'll put some glide in your stride and some pep in your step. Nasala Kombucha. Yeah.
Nasala Kombucha makes your body happy. Nasala Kombucha makes your body smile.
Do you want your your next raised beds to be easy, functional, and beautiful? The Embrace helps you create the garden you've always wanted. Finally, raised beds that everyone can assemble and enjoy. No tools needed. Just slide any lumber into the Embrace corner, fill with your favorite soil mix, and you're ready to plant. Made from 100% recycled steel right here in the USA. And a portion of every sale helps to build school and community gardens all across the country. Let the Embrace help you create your next raised bed. Grow beautifully with the Embrace. Available at local garden centers and online at artofthegarden.net.
Hodgson Mill, 125 years of experience producing stone-ground organic flour and cornmeal made from premium quality whole grains. Family-owned company. Continual standards that are non-GMO, organic at the highest safety levels. Offering a wide variety of flours, pasta, baking mixes, flaxseed, and more. Even kosher and gluten-free options. Found at most local grocers like Woodman's. For more information and recipes, visit HodgsonMill.com. That's HODGSONMILL.com.
The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, Rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants, to multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds. Rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit Rootmaker.com.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Hallie Baird.
It's the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, your destination for all things gardening, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and a whole lot more. Well, as spring arrives, you can go to Blue Mel's for the 6th annual spring kickoff, May 6th and May 7th. May 6th at 10 a.m. We will be there following the show that day for a little while to meet and greet you. And then Sunday, May 7th, you can go there as well. They are their annual spring kickoff. They'll be grilling, free food. It's free for you to attend, as well as they'll duel out some of their famous Blue Mel bucks, so you can get some discounts on some plants and starts there.
Yeah, Blue Mel's is great. They have a wide variety of plants and garden supplies. They have a knowledgeable staff, and they have some great landscaping supplies as well, too.
Where can we find Blue Mel's at,
You can find Blue Mel's at 4930 West Loomis Road in Greenfield, and they can supply and surpass all of your garden needs. You can visit bluemills.com or call 414-282-4220.
Kyle from Wisconsin Foodie will be with us in a moment, but first we have a caller with a question. Caller, what is your question?
Hi, how are you? This is my first time listening to your garden show this morning, but I will be tuning in every Saturday now. And you just mentioned something about grapeseed oil.
No, we said rape. It's rapeseed. Grapeseed. So it's RAPE, not GRAPE. So there's two different oils.
Species there.
Yeah.
So is grapeseed oil okay to use then?
Yes, grapeseed oil is certainly okay to use, and it has a higher smoking point than olive oil, so it's good for cooking in as well.
What about, is it an antioxidant that you can use on your skin too?
I've never used it on my skin. I usually use coconut oil on my skin or olive oil, but you could try it.
It's a natural oil, so
it stops you. It has antioxidants in it that helps out with aging or helping your skin not to age so much. I'm not sure if that's true or myth.
We can put we'll do some homework on that, and we'll get back to you next week on that one.
Yeah, we can. Yes. I can look into that for you, and then get back to you next week on that, and just make a mention in the first part of the show.
Okay, thank you, and I will be listening.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Okay, bye.
Okay, so Kyle Cherek is the host of the Emmy-nominated television show Wisconsin Foodie, beginning its 9th season just this past Thursday on PBS, and the broadcast prime time to over 8.2 million households, found right here on MPTV on Thursday evenings at 7:30 p.m. He's a born and bred Wisconsinite, and he has been sitting up and taking nourishment since the Nixon administration. He sees the Midwest as a font of history, craftsmanship, and artisanal dispositions, all of which are continually pushing national culinary and sustainability trends forward. As a host of Wisconsin Foodie, Kyle profiles these food chargers and chronicles the story of food through regional chefs, farmers, and artisans. Welcome to the program, Kyle.
Thank you, Holly.
Well, we're so happy you've taken time out of your busy schedule to join us on the program today. Kyle, we want to start with, and many people who see gardening programs, food shows on TV. They want to know, how did you get in the position of hosting it? Because maybe somebody's listening and goes, I can probably do that, but where did you start? How did you get into this?
Well, you need to lose a bet, really. That's how I got into the show. It was a bet with myself. I was planning on, I was dead set against doing more public things. I was going to calm my life down. I was going to be less social and less active. Previously to the show, it had a very outgoing, I was involved in a bunch of boards in the city. I did a lot of charity things, just incredibly social. And I'd had some life changes, one of which was having a brand new son. And I wanted to do absolutely less. And of course, that's the time when the universe has different plans for you. When
right.
You're convinced this is the path I should go on. It says, no, how about over here? The practical answer is that the executive producer and creator of the show, Arthur Ursink, who is a great guest and one of the founders of the Shorewood Farmers Market, who you should have, I would suggest have him on the show. He's a terrific interview. He was a neighbor of mine, and we were living in a loft building over in Walker's Point, and we knew each other, but really only anecdotally. And he had this idea for the show, and he and his wife were having dinner out of town, and after a great meal, they both concluded, I'm going to do this, sketched out the first season, or at least ideas for the first season on the classic napkin, right, as we all, all great businesses and ideas that we got on cocktail napkins. And he turned to his wife and said, who's going to host it? And she said, you should ask Kyle. And that's really how it came about. We had a drink at Hinterland, which is a terrific restaurant in Milwaukee, and he pitched me. And I said, if I can use my own voice and it's unscripted and I can co-produce or add to the stories, I have to have total buy-in on the shows. Otherwise, it won't be authentic. And he said, that's what I want. I said, great, let's shoot a pilot. And we'd fill your radio show with the rest is history part, but the rest is history, essentially.
So you were you couldn't say no, or was it ever a doubt in your mind that you were not going to do this?
I was on the fence. I said yes right away. I didn't know if anything would come of it. I said yes in the sense that, let's see if we can work together. I'd never seen his video work, so it could have been garbage versus the artistry that it is. I didn't know. I had no bearing. It's like someone saying, let me, bake a cake and decorate it for your mom's birthday, and just because they say they bake doesn't mean that they decorate cakes beautifully.
Right. Right.
So I took a risk on that, but I was curious, and I wanted to see how we would work together. And I'm a storyteller at heart. I'm a recovering English major, and so it was the story aspect that really hooked me in, more so, to be candid, than the food and the agriculture and the culinary history, though I'm an English major who almost was a history major together. And I thought, this could be really intriguing and exciting, and let's at least see how we work together and what kind of products he creates.
Fantastic. Now, throughout your interviews around Wisconsin and the region, what is something you found just intriguing or shocking and didn't expect when learning about that particular person?
Yeah, I don't have anything specific. I mean, I guess the real takeaway was that I grew up between two farming families. So knowing that we raised a lot of food for the rest of the country and certainly the region and even other countries was not a mystery to me. But in the 8.5, 9 years we've been filming Wisconsin Foodie, the depth of the food that we produce here and the soil technology and really the food technology that Wisconsin has, from the cranberry bogs way up north and the wild rice, which is still harvested legitimately, to someone like Crave Brothers, who are going to feature this year, this what would be called a CAFO and a macro dairy, and all those words that get thrown around that are less than complimentary at times. But they're doing it so consciously. They've got about 700 cows, and they take the manure from the cows and they put it into a organic combustor, and it fuels their entire operation, their cheese-making operation, plus 300 homes in the nearby town of Waterloo. I mean, this is the sort of consciousness that travels through Wisconsin agriculture. When you walk into their quote-unquote office, they have a rug that says, not dirt, our soil.
And because of your story, because of Wisconsin Foodie, you don't see stories like that on the big nightly news because it's not important. It's not, we're not, it's not important to the mainstream media. But with your storytelling, you're able to show people this exists. People really do care about where their food comes from and the passion they have about helping others be more healthier by eating locally homegrown food.
I would agree. I would agree with you to the extent that the mainstream media or the larger media, I think, is interested in these stories, but so often they have to encapsulate it into a 3 or 4 minute bit.
Right.
And we have the great blessing of being able to stretch out that single story into 30 minutes on public television. And so I think we're both right in that there's an interest in it, but there is an interest in the depth that we have. It's not that there isn't an interest. They don't have the space. They have to get onto hard news, or they have to get onto something else that's more flippant and entertaining, and so on and so forth. Box office returns for the latest movie. We're going to go much deeper, and we're interested in the personalities and the thoughts and the motivations behind. Well, our show is in essence the story of where your food comes from, and you cannot tell that story in 90 seconds.
That's very true. So what would you say is your favorite dish to cook with local ingredients?
Well, that depends on the time of year, right? So when wild rice is being harvested, that's an absolute favorite. My wife is from, she was born in the Duluth area, so we've got a great affinity for that. She's got Scandinavian background. Tomatoes in August, right? I mean, anyone that has spent any time in the summer in Wisconsin knows that they're an elixir of life. They're an absolutely different fruit at that time of year, and so tomatoes deep in August. We cook in the season with pretty much diligence. There's some great squash dishes that if I don't eat them moving into the fall, I lose any superpowers that I have. And so, I know I'm not answering you directly, but I don't have one thing. It really depends on what week in October are we.
Right.
And then how did the weather play out prior to that? And, this is going to be supreme this week. Let's try and get some of that and come up with 2 or 3 ideas.
Right. And you're absolutely right about the tomatoes. Next to a very good woman, tomatoes come in a close second. Well, what is, and you touched on this a few moments ago, the importance of local food movement. What is the importance of that to the average, ordinary, urban Milwaukeean?
Food is life. Food is identity. Food is community. Food is literally everything. I put a post up the other day on social media in regards to the Easter holiday and the observation of Passover, and I know there's other religious holidays that fall in at this point, but I'm not Catholic or Christian or Jewish, but I can't think of a major religion that doesn't celebrate one of its significant days. I can't think of a significant human experience, whether of joy or sorrow, that isn't touched by food or drink.
Right.
That's definitely true. So aside from
go ahead.
Go ahead. Aside from farmers markets, what are some good resources to find local and sustainable food?
Sure. I think the Fresh Farm Atlas is our Bible, or whatever metaphor, religious metaphor you want. Our phone book, our yellow pages, our internet. The Fresh Farm Atlas, no matter where you are in the state, I think is such a treasure, such a resource. They have a fundraiser coming up on May 13th that I'm going to be emceeing. I believe in the organization so much. Without that publication, I think that's what we go to when we want a humanely raised, free grazed turkey for our Thanksgiving dinner, or we want a pheasant of that ilk for Christmas, or whatever we're looking for, really, within the region. And it lists out the farmers, and they are very specific about what they make, and you can call them, or here's their website, or these are the, come to the farm. It's such a fantastic resource. And beyond that, then really there's a couple of events around the state where that are happening this time of year where you can go. I know the Urban Ecology Center in Milwaukee, you can go and sign up for farmers markets or get a little test and teaser of what their CSAs are and things like that. Those are great resources too, but that Fresh Farm Atlas is just everything.
And because of shows like Wisconsin Foodie, people can come to the realization that food doesn't have to travel from Mexico or California or Japan. They can just travel a few miles or a few feet and get it right here that was locally grown and keep the money in the local economy and help everybody out and eat healthier.
That's right. I always like to leave, you make such a great point, and I always like to leave someone with a directive or something that they can do. There is a very simple app that you can find out there. You just search fruit and vegetable barcode app, and you can put it on your phone and you can scan these fruit and vegetables. And they have to, based on the number code, if it begins with a 6, it's from Mexico, it begins with a 4, it's from, that sort of thing. You can know instantly, and now I can just scan and look at the number, whether it was produced, at least in the United States, versus a foreign country. And I would urge people to, forego strawberries in January, and things like that, because they're coming from Ecuador, as an example. Nothing against Ecuador and the produce that they produce, but think a little bit more consciously about all the things on your table. When we sit down as a family for any meal, we don't pray, but we do a quick invocation where we all say we are grateful for this food and for the hearts that made it. Because so many human hands and so much energy goes to get that food to our table. And I think if people think more consciously about that, we will literally change the world.
Absolutely. Well, Kyle, we appreciate you coming on the program, sharing your information for people who want to find Wisconsin Foodie. Again, where's a place that they can find it? And replays are available on the website too, correct?
Yeah, the website, or you can go to Wisconsin Public Television site and just search in Wisconsin Foodie, or obviously any of your PBS listings where you're going to find us there. But and then the Wisconsin Foodie website. We don't have all the new episodes up yet because we want everyone, they're all filmed and they're sent off to the station, but we want folks watching on Thursdays. We don't want to give away all the secrets yet.
Right.
But as they're up, then they'll be added to the website so people can watch them and share them with families, so on and so forth.
Well, thank you, Kyle, and we'll be back shortly after this.
Delighted. Thank you.
Have a gardening question? You can call into the ivorganic.com hotline at 414-444-5250 right now.
Do you have a little space to grow? Check out Greenstock Vertical Gardens at greenstockgarden.com. Greenstock is engineered to grow with its innovative space and water-saving design. You can grow vegetables, flowers, herbs, and even strawberries in just 2 square feet of space. Grow up instead of out. Perfect for the porch, patio, or deck. Grow up to 30 plants in a small space. GreenstockGarden.com has everything you need to grow in the littlest of spaces. Proudly made in the USA. For more information and to purchase, visit greenstockgarden.com. Beans and Barley Market and Cafe, a neighborhood specialty grocery store for the East Side and greater Milwaukee area, where you can find all you need, from fresh produce to bakery to organic frozen dinners, from wine to fresh squeezed carrot juice, a health food store with hundreds of products, vitamins, supplements, bath and body items, magazines, cards, books, and a knowledgeable staff. Catering available, open daily at 8 a.m. The restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week with a menu of good, healthy, homemade food, including vegetarian and non-vegetarian specialties. 1901 East North Avenue, Milwaukee, 414-278-7878, and online at beansandbarley.com. Really Granola is a small batch Wisconsin-made granola available at reallygranola.com. This granola uses many organic ingredients and features Wisconsin products such as beautiful red Wisconsin cranberries, local honey, and other delicious Wisconsin products. You'll find plenty of fiber and protein in Really Granola, which makes it a great way to start or end your day. This granola is baked in a Wisconsin co-packing kitchen that helps to employ disabled workers. Find Really Granola near you or to buy online, visit reallygranola.com. Mycorrhizae is a beneficial fungus from PlantSuccess.com that will greatly increase your plant's germination ability and a healthier root structure. You can increase seed sprouting, root growth, and general plant germination. Mycorrhizae can be used with hydroponics, root cutting, seed sprouting, coco coir, and soil. PlantSuccess.com carries powder, granule, and tablet forms of mycorrhizae, Increase the level of mycorrhizae in your soil for your plants to give them the optimal opportunity to produce an incredible harvest. For more information and to purchase, visit plantsuccess.com.
I want a garden center that listens to and understands my needs.
I want to buy my gardening products from a local business with strong ties to the community.
All I want is a garden center that truly values their customers.
It seems like everyone is selling plants these days, but I'm having a hard time finding quality.
I take pride in my garden, so I want my garden center to take pride in their products.
Where will you be going for all of your gardening needs this season? Blue Mel's Garden Center. We are your answer.
Blue Mel's 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. Wait a minute. Let me have your attention.
You're tuned in to the only vegetable gardening radio show in Milwaukee.
The listeners are what are making this show possible. By you telling your friends that Garden Radio is back on the airwaves after 11 years, that is what makes us happy.
Now back with your hosts, Joey and Hallie Baird.
That is correct. You telling your gardening friends that we're on the air, because the mainstream media just don't think the story is going to be something that the viewers want to see. So share with your gardening friends. It's time to get gardening.
Okay,
the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden rehearsal went really well today. I don't know what happened today. The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, your destination for all things gardening. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, 840 videos, email, Twitter, the whole deal, all for free, all to help you.
Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to call into the Ivy Organic hotline at any time. Ivy Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields pruned and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, you can visit ivyorganics.com. If you have a question anytime during our show, you can call 414-444-5250. And we have a question that came in.
We had several questions come in this week. Heavy questions.
Twitter or something?
Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of that. Before we get to the question, last week we had our weekly video on Saturday and Tuesday. You can find that on the website. We're going to plant, you'll see on the video on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We're going to plant some brassicas, kale, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage. We're also going to do some beets in containers, as well as spinach. We will not have a video tomorrow in reverence and in honor of Resurrection Sunday. We feel it's more important to remember and appreciate what happened on Resurrection Sunday, rather than having people watch our video on our website. But you can find all of the videos on the website, YouTube, and Facebook. So the question came in this past week, and what's the question, Holly?
I live in the Chicago area, and I have a question. I have a few small raised beds like yours. What do you recommend added to my garden soil? Last year, I added peat moss and manure just to plain soil. My garden was about 50% successful. Also, you already have onions in the ground. Can I plant onion seeds in the ground right now? So to address the first part, we had recommended to her to add some compost. And what else did we tell her to add?
A good and rich compost will fix a lot of problems. Right. You can add some organic fertilizer, keep it under the 5.55 mark, because that's really all the plants really need. But in addition to that's fine. And she can go ahead and plant onions.
Now, you don't want to do the seeds right now in
the
ground.
No, you want to do the starts.
You want to do the starts, and not the little tiny bulbs. The starts look like chives almost.
Right.
They're green.
Or short little pencils.
Yeah, they're usually about like 6 inches long or so.
And the reason for that is the bulbs. Onions are biennials, which means you grow them this year, you let them be, they'll come back next year, and they'll put a seed pod on. The bulbs, or the little bulbets, the little onions, if you grow them this year, those were grown in fall last year, harvested, put it in a bag, sent to your garden center. You bring them, you plant them in the ground. That onion already thinks it's growing its second year, and it's not going to produce a very good bulb. It will put a seed pod on, and that bulb is not good for storage. It is edible, but the longevity of the storage is almost nothing. So that's why you want to go with the starts, the green live plants.
Definitely. So we have another question. I'm south of the Wisconsin border. What can I plant outside right now? So I'm going to assume they're probably very, very northern Illinois. And so you can kind of follow us, or maybe something is a little bit sooner, but you could definitely plant your onions, your radishes,
beets,
lettuce, spinach, brassicas. What else are we planting today?
Carrots.
Oh, yeah, carrots.
Parsnips can go in the ground now, too.
So your your not early spring,
cool weather
crops, you can plant those. That's for sure.
You don't want to plant your tomatoes or peppers or eggplants or watermelons or anything like that yet. That comes after about a week middle to late May, based on the longevity of the forecast.
And then we have another question that came in. Is the soil temp usually higher or lower than the air? How do you determine that you're at 40 degrees soil temp? So
this was in reference to planting peas last week. Very good question. The soil temperature is lower than the ambient temperature outside. It takes a while to get that soil temperature to warm up. So what you'll want to do is at root zone, so if you're planting your seeds or planting starts an inch or 2 inches below soil level, you want to get a thermometer, a digital thermometer, a meat thermometer works really well to get an instant temperature on that. So you want to check there. And just because it was warm, like tomorrow it's supposed to be 70 some odd degrees, just because it was warm tomorrow doesn't mean you can go ahead and plant warm weather crops in the ground on Monday, because the soil is not going to be warm enough. You've got to have that soil warm, consistent longevity. Like potatoes need 45 degrees minimal temperature Fahrenheit, consistent or warmer to be planted. And if you don't have that, these plants will set in the ground and rot. So you want to keep that in mind when it comes to growing these crops.
Okay, and then since we were kind of talking about peas, can I plant English peas and sugar snap peas next to each other, or will they cross-pollinate? And
they will not.
No, they won't cross-pollinate.
Well, they will cross-pollinate if you're going to there's a potential that they're going to cross-pollinate if you're going to save the seeds for next year.
Right.
If you're just going to
eat them, they won't.
There's nothing going to be wrong with that.
You do want to make sure that if you're planting different peas for different uses, you definitely want to separate them so you know the difference that way.
Right, because some peas bulk up, others do not, and you want to keep that in mind and label them so you know if the peas are going to be a pea, what type of pea.
Okay,
We've got
so
a question
we have a question
on the ivorganics.com hotline. What is your question? Oh, what is your question?
Oh, my question is, have you heard of chlorophyll?
Of what?
Chlorophyll is CHLOROPHYLL, and I was wondering if you heard of it. Does it does the same thing that eating kale or broccoli and all those other great green vegetables?
Spell it again once more.
It's CHLOROPHYLL.
I've not heard of it. Holly, what?
I bought it at Whole
Okay, so chlorophyll.
That you put in water.
Yeah. Okay. So chlorophyll. Yeah, it's basically closely related to the green pigments found in algae and plants.
Yeah.
I've never heard of people taking it, but I just did a Google search and it says it isn't just helpful for plants. It's packed with vitamins and minerals. So if you know people who take it, and you could do some research, it looks like it's a good source of vitamins A, C, and K, and many different health benefits, it looks like. So I've never heard of people. I know it exists in plants, but
I take it. I bought some drops from Whole Foods store.
Okay.
And you put about 12 drops in the water. It turns the water green. And I was wondering, would it be the same thing as eating broccoli or kale or any other healthy green vegetables?
it definitely could. If you take any supplement that exists in plants, then it's going to generally have the same benefits. We're definitely not doctors, but I would do some, since you take it, I would do some research, see if you can find a forum where people talk about the benefits of it or the disadvantages. I know that those vitamins that I had listed, the C, E, A, and K, those definitely exist in those green vegetables like broccoli or cabbage or kale. So it's not a terrible idea.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank
I'll be
you.
waiting to hear about grapeseed oil next week too.
Definitely. Okay, so Nessala is the executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Nessala is made in Wisconsin with local tea and natural herbs. Look for it in the refrigerator aisle at your local grocer. If you don't see it, ask for it, because if it's not Nessala kombucha, it's not kombucha. For more information, visit nessala.com.
Programming note next week, successful garden practices that was worked for us. We're going to talk about Earth Day, as well as John Colder, the biggest gardening YouTuber on the planet, will be with us with over almost 400,000 subscribers.
Holly Baird.
I'm Joey Baird, and until next week, we will see you in the garden.